Wazuk. I heard you were sick of suboptimal dwarf gameplay. Well, today I've got a very special one for you from the Faction Master Invitational. Today we've got ODM Loopy versus VM Flower, and we've got an absolute grudge match with Loopy taking the Dwarfs against Flower's Greenskins. Classic, loreful, and beautiful. And I'm not sure if Loopy even enjoys playing the Dwarfs. Curious thing about this tournament is with each faction, you can only play them once, right? So once you've played with a given faction, you cannot play them again throughout the tournament. And Loopy, I'm not sure if he's the biggest fan of the Dwarves. He might be trying to get them out of the way early, but let's take a look at the build he's brought. He's got Dwarf Warriors up front, Bolt Thrower for some long-range pressure, Ekron's Miners, plus some Iron Drakes for anti-infantry blasting, backed up by plenty of Slayers, an appropriate 4 Slayers plus 1 Giant, including the Dragonback Slayers as well. Night Goblins going first round. I'd imagine we'll see some Fanatics there, Swamp Things, and Squig Hoppers as well, and a nice wide flank. Spider Rider Archers, Spider Rider Archers moving up to shoot those Bolt Thrower crews. More Night Goblins here. So it's a very loreful, large Goblin force. We've got some Catapults in the back as well with the Rock Lobbers, Rusty Errors, Durkit Squigs, some Pump Wagons, Night Goblin War Boss. There's a Night Goblin Shaman here as well. He's looking for some Vindictive Glares or Gorkle Fixits. Interesting choices, but unfortunately for them, the Mangy Marauders do end up getting taken up a little bit too close here. Line of sight blocked. I don't know, maybe they went for a quick cheeky charge on those Bolt Throwers, but paid for it pretty badly with lots of fiery blasting. The 2 Gyrocopters as well, just kind of running around doing their thing, blasting whatever units they can. It will be a little bit of a artillery duel. It will be a longer game today, so strap yourselves in, grab some popcorn, a nice mug of Bugmans, whatever floats your boat here, as the gyros will move across. Yeah, we've got some nice skirmishing with the catapults, this crew getting back online as well, Bolt Thrower getting back, and the Night Goblins doing a form of skirmishing, getting blasted by flamethrowers, but also unleashing their Fanatics up through the lines of the Dwarfs. Could even see them maybe run in and try and engage the Slayers in melee. These Night Goblins will be reasonably cost-effective if they can get a good engagement on the Slayers, given they're so much cheaper, and they can just kind of do lots of poison model damage to them. I guess not poison damage, but they have poison to debuff them, and then lots of models to do damage, I should say more correctly. But yeah, we've also got the Rusty Airs moving up to do a bit of skirmishing there. In this skirmish phase, we'll see Gorkle Fixit, Fermented Fungi, being used to draw 1 Gyrocopter down to the ground where the Squigs can pin it and dismantle them with teeth. Very painful process, no doubt, for both sides, but there we go. I can see the Skirmish Cavalry as well for Greenskins also helping out in this endeavor, but getting rid of those gyros early is definitely pretty important. You can see that he actually dismounted his artillery crews so that the artillery pieces themselves are at less risk of getting destroyed. But right now the Goblin Rock Lobber doing some fairly decent damage. This other gyro is going to line up a bombing run and do some pretty good damage to the crew, definitely. It's not quite enough to break their leadership, maybe. They are teetering on the edge. Let's take a look. They are wavering, and it looks like indeed, wow, minus 34 there for a second. It is enough to break those poor little Goblin Rock Lobbers. So again, more skirmishing to be done. We'll keep a nice wide view as the Greenskins go for a very patient surround here. Ekron's Miners trying to find whatever range they can for their blasting charges. They're going to find good contact on that unit of Night Goblins there. But this unit of brave Night Goblins, ooh, they're going to follow up their Fanatics and rush in, get a little bit of a rear charge on the Dragonback Slayers. Very brave indeed. Perhaps some might even say foolish. But who are we to judge the actions of the Goblins? The Iron Drakes definitely making their presence felt as well. Super scary unit to try and approach, so Flower taking his time to try and approach, you know, with as much patience as he can, really getting things into position. The Bolt Throwers really haven't done much. Has had to dedicate quite a bit of resources trying to taking them out, but So far, they haven't been able to use their ammo very effectively on this map. Certainly is a map that favors the more, you know, arc of fire artilleries, right? Rather than direct fire artillery. But Night Goblin Force Goblin Archers here as well. We're going to do very cost-effective damage to the Slayers, kind of. I mean, they just don't do very much damage overall, but when you have 0 armor, that is much more valuable. Get the full amount of that damage. Yeah, the more fanatics being unleashed here, and you can see Flowers has been very, very patient in using those. Managed to get, I think, all 3. I don't know, that one probably didn't get very much damage, but has managed to wear down the Dwarfs a fair amount. Right now, the balance power is showing slightly in his favor. But we'll see how the Dwarves are able to hold. It's a very Dwarven game right now, just defending this position against the Goblin hordes. Key for Loopy here is just to try and not get too far out of position, stay close, defend his missile units as best he can. The Iron Drakes can definitely make short work of a lot of these units if they can get good firing solutions. Let's see, these slopes, in particular this kind of big central divot, do definitely hinder such ranged units, but taking a look at the back line here, we can see this pump wagon trying to cycle charge as best it can, kind of getting caught up, slowed by those Dragonback Slayers with their flammable slowing stuff. Very nice. Minus 30% speed is pretty hefty. The Giant Slayers as well, armor piercing, not really super necessary here, but just in general, massive anti-large weapon strength, charge bonus, everything else, very scary unit for anything to tangle with. See the Goblins kind of pulling back, getting ready to run through with a second wave, do whatever skirmishing they can. And, ooh, nice Vindictive Glare there. Finishes off the last couple bolt thrower models with most of their ammunition still. That is not too much of a loss of value, but definitely painful from a tactical perspective. Vindictive Glare, of course, I don't know if it still does. It used to have a hidden anti-large component that would make it, yeah, I mean, previously it wouldn't spread the shots like it does these days, but interesting to see it being used for counter-artillery sniping here. Seemed pretty effective. But artillery crew now going to come forward to fight with these Dwarf Warriors to try and secure this objective. It is Conquest. The victory tickets might end up coming into play. We do have Ungrim Iron Fist on the field, of course. Very tough, unbreakable character. And looking at the Goblins build, I don't know if they really have anything that can tangle with him super effectively, but Swamp Thing is going to charge forth from the woods and then immediately regret their decision as they come into contact with a bunch of angry Slayers. The pump wagons and the supporting Night Goblins being chased into the hills there. Dragonback Slayers are just about done, though. There are only 6 models left on them. And we see another fermented fungi being used to draw those Iron Drakes into combat. The very sneaky Rusty Airs get a nice arc of fire on them. Drop volley or 2. Durkit Squigs, or regular Squig Hoppers. No, those aren't the Durkits indeed, with their yellow hats. They're going to charge in from behind. Wah being popped. And Iron Drake is done for. There are still plenty of Dwarf Warriors around, some Giant Slayers, and the other unit of Iron Drakes also firing their flamethrowers into the blob from on high. It's actually not going to do too much damage initially. Second volley be a little bit more effective. Hard to see with all the stuff going on in the UI there, but Goblins might be able to pull away. Back. Slayers, yeah, Skirmish Cavalry kind of having to be used in melee at this point against the Slayers, but just out of curiosity, value on these, yeah, unfortunately pretty low. The Spider Riders in particular having less unit models than the Wolf Riders does mean they just deal less missile damage overall, and really are going to struggle to pay for themselves, even shooting kind of ideal targets. But this one gyro is still online as well. I have no idea what they've been doing the entire time, but plenty of ammunition left. Ungrim kind of being pulled a little bit out of position. Some of these other Dwarf Warrior units kind of getting a little bit out of position as they chase these rusty errors. Yeah, this is when things get dangerous for the Dwarfs, although they feel like they have a good position here. The mobility of the green tide is such that they can very quickly turn an unfavorable situation into a favorable one. Squigs collapsing here, the skirmish cavalry as well. Night goblins turn around to fight, and those dwarf warriors, armored as they are, only handle so much, so both of those units get eaten up for little gain. Bolt thrower crew running out here to fight. This has to be a 10 out of 10 moment. Who knows? Maybe I'll clip this mega short. Oh, beautiful. The artillery crew, dreaded duel. Swamp Things are going to come shut that down real quick. But for a glorious moment, bolt throwers charged in. It looked like they were maybe going to break those rock lobbers. But there are slayers following up to actually properly get the job done. Pyrocopters also fire in. Steam guns blasting away. Not the most effective against the Swamp Things, but should be okay. Supporting the Slayers at the very least. The rest, Rusty Arrows are going to come through, and at this point they kind of have somewhat free reign to shoot whatever they want. The Iron Drakes at 80 range, the Rusty Arrows at 115. Close enough that they'll have to be sure to stay out of range of those Iron Drakes. Going to be quite painful shooting into them, but yeah, let's see. Rusty Arrows might be able to accrue some good value in this late game stretch. And the Dwarfs content to just defend the objective for now, kind of get whatever pieces they can. Yeah, the Slayers did some damage to the Swamp Things there. Ooh, the Iron Drakes. 6 Iron Drakes managed to come back from route out in the open field there as well. Get some nice burnt leadership contact effect. Straight up fire damage. It's enough to break the Swamp Things, but Spider Rider's coming over to try and finish things off as well. Oh yeah. Night Goblin Shaman. Some damage on the Slayers. Not too much there, but it's best he can do at this point is just continue using those Vindictive Glares on whatever targets he can. Maybe start popping Ungrim with those, honestly. It's not going to do a ton of damage, but whatever damage you can do to him at this point is going to be advantageous. You can see the balance power starting to tip a little bit for the Dwarfs as the lost leadership on the Swamp Things becomes apparent. A lot of units started to run out of ammunition, and they start to run out of solutions on how exactly they're going to kill the Slayer King here. Ungrim is, after all, quite well armored. He's got great stats overall. Not the best weapon strength in the world, but plus 30 bonus versus large. But 50 melee defense, 65 melee attack as well, 120 armor. So quite a tanky character. Of course, he's got spell resistance as well. So yeah, that Vindictive Glare is really not going to do much. But let us see how it goes here. Rusty Arrows using up what ammunition they can, getting some value on the Giant Slayers. We're going to have the Iron Drakes open up. Goblins kind of charging in, maybe trying to draw some of these last few Dwarven infantry out of position. But the Dwarves don't take the bait, instead sticking to Iron Drakes. Nasty back volley there, burns many goblins. But it does allow the Rusty Arrows a good opportunity to shoot back. Try and find the gaps in the Iron Drake's heavy armor there. Vindictive Glare going into the Giant Slayers. Spider Rider Archers also pulling away now at this point. Night Goblin Warboss staying on the move, not wanting to get caught in a bad situation. Dwarfs that we're pursuing eventually do land here. Durkat Squig is going to come through, apply some armor-piercing damage, probably finish off this unit of Dwarf Warriors here. Ekron's Miners as well, at risk of losing out. The biggest thing is just to continue protecting the Rusty Arrows. Yep, Durkat Squig's kind of countercharge there as soon as they're out of range of the Iron Drakes. Iron Drakes here. Cool, they've got a lot of different targets to shoot. Right now, Ungrim wisely staying close to the Iron Drakes, kind of acting as a little bit of a screen for them. If any units try and get close, he can also kind of potentially force them to blob up if it's a multi-model unit that gets its attack order canceled by him. He's also just kind of a scary threat here that a lot of things don't want to fight in melee, so a good deterrent for anything getting too close. But yeah, you see those Spider Riders, they're going to nope out of the charge on that one. Dwarf Warriors also staying close right now, taking a rear charge there from the Durkit Squig. Spider Riders also moving in. On high, you've got the, I say on high, it's the, you know, basically equal elevation, but yeah, the fermented fungi being used on the Iron Drakes there to ensure they stay in melee, not able to fire, quite literally, but it's too bad they don't have any fanatics left at this point. You actually can see the enemy fanatics here, even though it just says Night Goblins. But another debuff, Tormentor Sword, being used to kind of freeze Ungrim there. Has the Night Goblin pulls away, try and maybe preserve those Durkit Squigs for one more pass. Rusty Arrows are also using up the last of their ammunition as they take some more fire from the Iron Drakes. Horse Goblin Spider Riders trying to rear charge these Slayers here as they fight these Goblins. Take advantage of the very brief... Nope, they did not. But this whole time, Ungrim's also just standing here menacingly. You know, 30 kills, not a lot of value, but his mere presence at this point is enough to win the battle. Because, honestly, there's nothing here that can kill him. A little bit anticlimactic, I know, but we shall fast forward through the end as Ungrim makes his final attacks. He bests Goblin Lord, protects his Iron Drakes. That's going to be a victory for Loopy. A hard-fought, nice, thematic, loreful victory for the Dwarfs. Beautifully done. Love me some Ungrim Iron Fist action. And overall, you know, Slayers, decent value on them. They didn't quite pay for themselves, but did what they needed to largely. One Iron Drake, 1,600 value, 22,000 damage dealt, 200 kills. Absolutely heavy metal performance from them. One Gyro as well gets very good value. The Bolt Thrower, not too much, especially considering how much resources it seemed like Flower potentially expended trying to get them down. Although broadly across the board he did get pretty good value. Just ultimately in his build didn't have a great solution for like a very powerful dwarf character, which maybe he was expecting someone more on the level of, like, you know, Thorek Ironbrow, but super strong combat character like Ungrim Iron Fist just gonna give this build problems. I mean, at best you can kind of hope to isolate him in the late game, which is maybe what Flower was, you know, going for. But given that it is an unbreakable hero, you might just have to, like, take the objective and then hope you can win before he kills the rest of your army. Definitely a fun one, though. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm going to be bringing you more sweet tournament action very soon, so be sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss any more. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.